Well, good afternoon. It is day 15 and I am just walking away from the Black Mountain Campground. I considered staying here and calling it an early day, but mostly I just hung out, had some lunch, and am now gonna get a little bit further this afternoon. And this marks the beginning. Segment 4, Mountains to Sea Trail. That looks like a barefoot to me. I know very little about mushrooms, but when they look, kind of pretty and interesting like this, I do want to eat them. I don't, but I want to. I have to stop hiking a little earlier in the evening than I otherwise might, in part because I have to plan for being very bad at hanging a bear bag. I've done it a lot, and yet sometimes it still takes me upwards of 20 times to get that rock over whatever branch I have chosen. So tonight was like a medium amount of bad, not my worst, definitely not the best. Every once in a while, 1 or 2 tries, hey look, but I can't count on that, and I don't really like doing that kind of stuff in the dark. So I can't really hike till sunset like I might otherwise. Also, sunset's getting earlier. It's fall, right? So the days are not as long as they might otherwise be. So it's sunset-ish time, and I am set up and getting ready to crawl in. It's a super windy night. Hopefully this will die down as the night goes on. Good morning on day 16. I'd say this is certainly the coldest morning I've had yet on trail, but I suppose that is to be expected for the time of year. I've got about 13 or so miles until I hit Highway 221 today, and then the plan is to probably hitchhike into Marion. The trail crosses around 4 miles north of Marion, and so that'll be my first hitchhiking endeavor on this trail, so hopefully that goes well. Also, the wind roared for a lot of the night last night, and it's still pretty breezy this morning, which is part of why it's cold. But yeah, that made it a little tough to sleep. It was maybe one of the loudest nights that I remember. And it was mostly just because it was the trees. The trees were just flapping around. So yeah, not my most rested evening. This is looking back behind me. It's a really beautiful walk this morning. Had a lot of straight down and then straight up today. Well, I am just about to the highway here. It's just, 100 yards away, less than. But I'm thinking this might be kind of a tough spot to hitch. I'm gonna give it a try because I don't particularly want to walk 4 miles into town, but I don't know. We'll see. Wow, that wasn't too bad at all. It took about 10 minutes, even though I was like feeling discouraged. And yeah, this wonderful guy who was a mechanic, he was out test driving one of the vehicles, and he was headed back into town, and so he just brought me with him. So here I am at the campground that I checked into for tonight. Gonna head up here and find my way to a shower. You know you're in North Carolina when. I haven't had cookout in a long time. This is kind of a North Carolina staple chain, and it might be time for a shake. Something about a milkshake in town makes me so happy. Well, good afternoon on day 17. Took me a little bit of the day today to get back on trail after hanging out in Marion. I knew that it would. Honestly, making these videos means that I have to spend extra time in town, like just editing and uploading and things like that. I enjoy doing them. It's a fun project, but definitely takes some time. So, but anyway, what's what's really on my mind coming out of town today is that, man, I have so much kindness to pay forward somehow in this life. It's probably going to take me the next life to pay forward just everything that I have received in my life. This afternoon I was hanging out at the campground where I stayed, and there is a man that lived nearby that had seen me walk in, because every time I needed to get something in town I walked, and so he just came over to say, hey, I've seen you walk in. I am a volunteer driver for a ministry in town called Freedom for Life, and I wanted to know if I could help you. Do you need a ride? Can I do anything for you? And I said thank you very much. I explained to him what I was doing and that I would definitely need a ride back out to trail, but a little bit later in the afternoon. I still had some things I needed to get together and get done in town, and he said that's fine. And to make the story shorter, we ended up, there was one more thing I needed to go get from in town, and it would have taken me a long time to go get what I needed. So he ended up helping me out with that, and then we grabbed lunch and we just talked. He's an older man, and as happens when you've lived a lot of years, you have a lot of stories to tell. And I have reasonably good ears, and most of the time an open heart, and it just turned out that is what he needed today, and I needed to be reminded that is something that I do have to offer. I spend at least a portion of my time walking around out here trying to figure out what I have to offer the world, and I don't always come up with very clear answers, but yeah, this interaction today with this very kind stranger, it just turned out to be something that was good for both of us, and in more than just thank you for the ride kind of way, and I feel so fortunate to be part of experiences like that. So yeah, be kind to each other, because you never know how that's gonna affect somebody. And so, like I said, I have a lot to pay forward, and I hope that I will see those opportunities when they present themselves in front of me, when I can say to someone like he did, hey, I see you might have a need, and I think I can meet it. Thought I'd have dinner on this cool bridge sitting over the North Fork of the Catawba River. Good morning on day 18. So I can see on one of my maps that the next couple of balds that I go over have had forest fires in the past 10 years. I think one was in 2015 and one was in 2017. And you can certainly see evidence of that here on the hillside, and even looking up on the hillside over there. To an extent, obviously there's lots of new growth, but yep, you can definitely see that fire has burned through here. So I am just about to the top of a bald knob, which I've been climbing up all morning. Well, so far this morning. And this is the view back to the west. So basically everything that I've been coming through And I'm hoping I'll get a view to the east here in a minute. I almost walked right into this web. You can see this spider. It's a big one. My face was inches from it. Oh boy. Well, I just had my next little bear sighting. This one was far less eventful than the first two, which is fine by me. I just saw the tail end of it. Basically, I heard some rummaging in the shrubbery and looked over and just saw bear butt disappearing into the woods, which, like I said, I'm pretty content at this point just to not see them. We're just peacefully coexist away from each other. That'd be great. But yeah, I'm gonna see them. I'd rather see that butt just headed the other way. Cool. I don't know any of the history of this trail, but it currently coincides with the Mountains to Sea Trail. Alright, I'm getting fairly close to the Linville River. So this is looking more southish at this point, but you can definitely see, I believe that's Lake James down there, which the Linville River feeds into. So getting close, pretty cool area. The wilderness. Well, that view is from the top of I guess Pinnacle Mountain. I know there's a lot of mountains called Pinnacle. Now I'm gonna head this way down into the valley and go cross that river. All right, made it down to the Linville River. This is a ford. There's no bridge. Looks like if I got really creative, I could maybe actually rock hop across, but I'm hot anyway. I think I'm just gonna get in. Well, I decided to have a little bit of a bath in that river while I was here. I may have only been hiking for like a day, but I stink. Climbing up the east side of the gorge. This is looking west back down into the valley. And then out behind me. I know I'm not even at the top, so I'm sure it's gonna get better as I go. But you can see the river down there. You can see all the mountains out that way that I know some of those I had to have come through. You can see the lakes to the south. You can start to see the land get flatter looking east. Dinner with a very nice but very windy view. So something that's pretty different on this trail than other through hikes I've done is just the fact that I am the only one out here. It's a much lonelier trail experience. You know, I'll see other day hikers sometimes. This area, the Linville Gorge area, is a popular area, and I saw some people today, which, you know, made me think, hey, maybe there's a chance I won't be camping by myself. Maybe I'll find a group of people, but there's actually not that, there haven't been that many people. It's not a weekend, so, yeah, and it's on the other hikes I've done, I would definitely still call those solo journeys. They were journeys that I set out to do by myself, that I finished by myself. You know, I would walk with other people at times, but there were large chunks of each trail that I was, you know, hiking and camping alone. But even while doing that, there were always hundreds of other people moving in the same direction as me, like with the same goals. And so, and you see those people out on trail, and especially in town. Even if you get spread out on trail, you're in a trail town, everybody's there. And so I felt that lack of just other hikers. Just there's quite a camaraderie that happens with everyone out on trail, because even though you're having pretty individual journeys and experiences, it's also a shared journey. You have common goals, and so you automatically have so much in common. And I was definitely feeling that lack of community in my most recent town stop in Marion. And that's not to say, obviously I had a wonderfully kind stranger there who really, you know, I think that's actually part of why my interaction with him was as meaningful to me as it was, is because I was feeling kind of lonely, truthfully. And you know, being able to connect with him, it doesn't necessarily make me any less alone on trail. Like, that's still going to be the case, but it does help me remember that in this journey of life, that, you know, the general human experience that we're going through, definitely not alone. Good morning on day 19. I'm gonna start the day with a climb up to a feature called the Chimneys. I'm still climbing up, but it's my first viewpoint on the way, and ooh, that's cool. Did a quick scramble up to this this overlook. You can see the gorge walls all going that way. The only time I can remember having to look up to find my blaze. You see the Outer Banks yet? And that particular stretch through that Chimneys area was gorgeous. You know, I've been to Linville Gorge before, but I don't think I've ever hiked that section, or maybe I just forgot how cool this area is. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. This is a rather gruesome display of nature, but it is kind of fascinating. This worm or caterpillar, whatever it is getting attacked by these bees. It's kind of crazy to watch. Seen lots of these guys around lately down here by the water. I'm walking along Steel Creek right now, and I'm not able to get a great look at this because of the trees, but pretty massive waterfall off to my right here. I was able to scramble over here and get like a view from the top looking down. Pretty cool. So this is still Steel Creek, and I think this waterfall continues massively on the other side over there, but it looks like that's going to be maybe a little tough to scramble down just looking at the other side of that rock. But this looks like a nice little spot for a lunch break, I think. Good morning on day 20. Last night at the campsite where I'd planned to stay, I came across a group of school kids like out on a camping trip. I mean, it was like a school organized group. They had adults with them. So that was the first night I've really camped with anybody. I'm sure I seemed a little overeager to hang out with middle school kids. Yes, they were kind enough to let me join their camp. And yeah, like I said, I was just excited to have other people around, hear voices that I know weren't in my head, that kind of thing. Today I have about 15 miles till I reach the Beacon Heights parking area, and that is the end of segment 4. That is also where I'm hoping to catch a ride into Linville. There's a couple of places called Linville, but this appears to be a little town called Linville. So yeah, hopefully catch a ride in there at the end of the day. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, should be my last day hiking in segment 4, which in general I've really enjoyed this segment. It's another pretty cool waterfall that you can get just kind of a glimpse of through the trees. I'm now following Harper Creek, and yeah, pretty cool, like little canyon like structures with the rocks and the water coming through. Pretty neat. Just a little bit of an improved view of the Harper Creek Falls. Pretty amazing. What I was looking at before was just the very bottom, even below this. So you can see it's got at least like 3 tiers. Pretty cool. Well, couldn't find a way to rock hop this one, so I'm gonna get my toes a little cold and wet this morning. As I'm walking along this creek, I'm kind of following it up at this point, and so it's pretty near constant waterfalls. I can't see them all, but it's like this, waterfall and then nice swimming hole, and on it goes. Well, I spent pretty much all of today and much of yesterday in the valley following those rivers or creeks, and I'm just about back up to the Beacon Heights parking lot, and so I'm climbing my way back out, and we'll re-meet with the Blue Ridge Parkway. All right, well, success. I made it to the Beacon Heights parking lot, and now I am going to walk down the parkway just a little bit where it intersects with 221 and hopefully catch a ride into Linville. Basically, I'm hoping to eat a meal, get some snacks for the next little stretch, and then basically head on my way. I don't know if it'll work out that smoothly, but some version of that. And in case you missed it when I said it before, that wraps up segment 4 of the Mountains to Sea Trail. Segment 5 is the last section in the mountain sections, and I am excited to get on to that.